We know that at this point in the campaign, all Donald Trump's rallies have become about is his own grievance, his own complaints, his own opportunity to whine for hours on end, so much so that, of course, his crowds have begun leaving early more and more, and that drives him even crazier and leads him to even more grievance and complaints. And that is exactly what we saw out of Donald Trump today, because although he hit the classics of attacking President Biden, attacking the moderators of his debate with Kamala Harris, and of course attacking Kamala Harris as well, he took a little bit of a turn to who he wanted to call out, who he wanted to poke fun at, who he wanted to attack during this rally. And for some reason, that became his own MAGA supporters, and he did it multiple times, and we are going to check out those examples because, again, it was just so unhinged, and we are seeing more and more of this behavior from Donald Trump. But before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you haven't already and you enjoy this channel, to hit that subscribe button. It really goes a long way in supporting what we're doing here. Now, Donald Trump's rally today was in Pennsylvania, and for some reason, Donald Trump wanted to share his general feelings about the state, a state he's trying to win, but it doesn't sound like it when he speaks like this.
I'm here only because they cheat, and they cheat in this state, especially in Philadelphia, and I'll mention a couple other areas, but for the most part, but Philadelphia is out of control. Detroit is out of control. Atlanta is out of control. Places are out of control, because if there was no cheating.
So it seems like Trump's plan for victory in this election is to attack two of the most important swing states in this election and the people in them in both Pennsylvania and Georgia. Now, when Donald Trump was talking about the type of people in the type of places who cheat, those certain people, I think we know who he was grossly trying to describe there, the dog whistle that he is clearly blowing to all of his followers and supporters there. But it's also funny for him to just say that Pennsylvania is terrible, Georgia is terrible. What type of a plan is this? It's just strange. But again, like I said, there were a lot of different attacks and grievances he wanted to air out, and one of those was against President Biden. And it's not what you would expect, actually. It is a little out of the blue and a new attack he has, but let's just take a look.
Happened. And, Joe Biden ought to get up and say, you're threatening a candidate, a former president and a candidate. And if you do anything to him, it's okay. Look, it's a very dangerous business. But Biden ought to say, you do anything to him, we're going to blow you off the face of the earth, and then we're not going to have any problems. Right? But he can't say that. Other presidents would say that. He just can't probably get the words out. But I'll tell you what, if it were reversed, if I were president and somebody was threatening a president, even if I didn't like that person and he was from the opposite party, I would tell the threatening country, you do anything to him, we're going to blow you off the face of the earth.
So Donald Trump, the guy who for years has been saying that President Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris have us on the verge of World War III, is now instructing Joe Biden to threaten Iran? Is that his genius plan? I know, and we talk about it all the time, that his national security advisors, Donald Trump's, are the group of people who have come out against him the most because they know how dangerous he is on a global scale. But geez, man, what is this? Blow them off the face of the planet? This guy, as we already know, probably shouldn't have the nuclear codes. I don't know who hears that and is like, you know what? I want this to be I want this guy to be the head of our military. I want him running things. No, I certainly don't. But again, it's expected that Donald Trump would be attacking President Biden because he's so aggrieved and angry that he took that shellacking from him in 2020. But like I said earlier, he went after his own crowd and he shared some candid thoughts about how one of his supporters looks to him and used a certain word to describe. Do you know what? We'll just take a look.
I built hundreds of miles of wall. I'm going to buy one of those and come out here. I built hundreds of miles of wall and it worked. And I was going to add another 200 miles, and then we had a very disruptive election. Horrible thing happened, horrible, including in this state. We won it in 2016 easily, and then in this state, bad things happened because I love you and you love me. We did so good here. But you know what? I built hundreds of miles of wall, And I'm going to walk onto this platform someday at some place, and I'm going to wear that ugly, horrible suit. Because it's emblematic. It's emblematic of what we've done, right?
Saying one of your supporters and what they're wearing is ugly. It's just like, this is the cult of MAGA. The guy is showing up in a wall jacket, and I hate to agree with Donald Trump. It is pretty ugly. You didn't need to call the guy ugly too. But it's funny because that guy's going to come back to the rallies, and he's going to still support Trump. He called him out. He made fun of him. He probably doesn't care. That's a perfect example of the cult of MAGA right there, showing up in the merch and the gear he made his own and then getting insulted for it and still being like, yeah, awesome. But like I said, the insults continued, and you're really going to want to hear what he's had to say about David Muir right here, because it was just ridiculous.
During the debate, I killed her in the debate, but I have crooked people. What they do, I had 3-on-1. I didn't even mind that. I still won by a lot. But why? I asked the question. And the David Muir, how about him? I said, how about that guy? Pretty boy. You know, we call him Pretty Boy. That's about it. That's about all. But you know what? I said, crime is at a level like we've never seen. It's rampant. It's rising. Okay. He interrupts me. I'm sorry, sir. Crime in this country has gone down. I said, you know, without looking at numbers, is there anybody in this room that think that crime has gone down? It's gone through the roof. And largely because of migrant crime. It's not only that.
The Donald Trump-David Muir relationship is pretty interesting. For some reason, Trump, before the debate, was talking about how great David Muir was going to be, and it seems like he kind of likes him. He's still nice to him, talking about him in like a small way when he is attacking him, says he doesn't have the great hair he did before, called him Pretty Boy there. I don't know what's going on with Trump and David Muir, but I'm sure David Muir doesn't really want to be a part of it. But again, a strange attack. And like I said, he continued those. This was just the grievance factory coming out of Pennsylvania for Donald Trump. And those continued with this attack he had of lies on Nancy Pelosi.
And she took total responsibility, J6. Nancy Pelosi said she turned down thousands of troops, National Guard. Now, you didn't need thousands. You didn't need 10,000. I over 10,000 or more.
I don't know what Trump is trying to accomplish with continuing to bring up January 6th, besides reminding us what a threat to democracy he is and what a liar he is. But I guess it's an interesting campaign choice, if you could call it that. And the other interesting choice he continues to make, not just talking about his attempt to overthrow our election, but trying to cast doubt on the upcoming election, when he says weird things referencing God somehow right here.
If there was no cheating, if God came down from a high and said, I am going to be your vote tabulator for this election, I would leave this podium right now because I wouldn't have to speak. We wouldn't have any problem. We have to have a landslide because they cheat so damn much. We have to have a landslide.
We did a video on it on this channel the first time we started to hear Trump use this line. It was when he was talking to Dr. Phil, and he said if Jesus counted the votes in California, then he'd win the state. And it's funny. It would be funny if it wasn't so dangerous. And we have to talk about this. I think it's important not to just laugh at it, but he is trying more and more to sow doubt about this election. The media is barely covering it. He is threatening poll watchers. He is threatening election officials, and no one seems to want to talk about it. But of course, we are going to on this show, and we have to continue to call it out. And it's not just the let's laugh at the crazy things he says. We need to take them seriously and stop sane-washing them like the mainstream media does. But one thing that is difficult to try to take seriously is when Donald Trump says something like this.
They don't even think about it. These are rough, vicious, rougher than anything you can imagine. There is no, and I say it all the time, if you wanted to do a movie on some of these people that you're going to be looking at in 2 minutes, if you wanted to do a movie, there's no actor in Hollywood that could play the role. There's nobody that could do it. These actors, you know, they're a little bit shaky. They can't play the role. They'll bring in a big actor, and you look, you say, oh, he's got no muscle content. He's got no muscle. We need a little muscle. Then they bring in another one. But he's got a weak face. He looks weak. No, these guys have the whole package.
He's gone from just fear-mongering to like these fantasy land diatribe attacks. I don't really know what they are at this point, saying that the actors in Hollywood couldn't play the individuals coming across the border. I don't know what he's saying. He doesn't know what he's saying. He wants to ramble. He wants to make stuff up. And of course he wants to distract. But we have to keep our focus on his failed policies, his failed leadership, and his failed ability to get anything done, his failed agenda. And that's what we have to keep talking about. And we're going to on this show every single day. And if you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button and leave a like on this video. And if you stuck around to the end, drop a blue heart in the comments. And until next time, I'll see you soon.